Hello and welcome back. Well, we have another developer update for April. It was released on the 2nd of April 2020, pretty much a couple of days ago. And that update sheds some light on how the reimburse system will work. Pretty much we will have reimburse for trainer ships. If you remember, trainer ships were those ships that were pretty cheap and that were also giving some really decent effects for their price. And well, a lot of people were flying them, and those were the ships that were mainly used to pretty much get to know the game. And well, it's actually really interesting to see that they will be kind of that we are going to be able to get them back if we lose them. Of course, there are going to be some limitations to that, which I will go into detail in just a moment. And there are also a couple other changes that you will be seeing in just a moment. Overall, it is a good little developer update, definitely promising, and definitely will be interesting to see how this will be implemented into the actual game. And the link to this will be, of course, in the description, the link to the Facebook post, and of course you can read that for yourself if you like. Well, here we start with the page. Let me just give me just 1 second. All right. Well, Eve Echoes development update April 2nd, 2020. Dear pilots, we hope you like our holiday trick. Though few may have actually bought it or just had a great time. All right, leisure time to be specific. Okay. Drafting the poem and background stories of Forkasoy, but rest assured it will not get into the game. However, we believe you have noticed an outline of something. Alright, that's interesting. Now it's time for some real stuff. Let's have a look at what we have endeavored in the past 2 weeks. Trainer type ship reimbursement. The trainer type ship reimbursement service is now live. With this service, players who are new to Eve Echoes can receive reimbursement on their trainer ship repairs when facing pirates. However, please note that any losses caused by your own aggressive behavior or aggressive tactics towards other players cannot be reimbursed. Now that's pretty fair enough. Fleet command upgrade. We have drawn up a new design to simplify fleet command with the intention to improve communication between fleet commanders and members of their fleet. The history feature has now been introduced, so players can now view their past commands and have a clearer picture of the battlefield during combat. We will be delivering further improvements in the future updates. Okay. Corporation alliances mechanics development. Corporation and alliances are prominent yet interactive mechanics in both EVE Online and EVE Echoes. To implement the system to fulfill the high expectations set by EVE Online, we are taking extraordinary measures to ensure the development of this system has sufficient time and resources for success. Furthermore, we have begun the development of the alliance mechanic to go hand in hand with the corporation system. And fourth, game text localization. We have completed the proofreading process of the game's text. All the text errors reported by our wonderful players during the OBT have now been edited and have completed our Polish pass. We have now begun the localization effort in Russian, German, French, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese. We expect these 5 languages to be fully supported shortly. Well, that's definitely a really interesting little developer note and little interesting development update. Definitely promising. Now, of course, I'll be going into detail for every one of these. Pretty much updates. Now, first thing for the trainership reimbursement. Well, I pretty much flew the Talvar trainer mostly. I of course tried other trainerships, and they were back in the open beta. They were actually better than the tier 1 version of those ships. For example, the Talvar trainer was slightly better than the Talvar, and the Corax trainer was slightly better than the Corax. At least the effects were kind of slightly better, and the only difference was that they were missing 1 high slot, while the Talvar had pretty much 7 weapons, 7 high slots. The trainer had 6. So those were the little differences that we had between the trainers and between the tier 1s, which is of course kind of made in a way for them to be balanced. Of course, the trainers were also slightly more expensive than the tier 1 version of those ships, and were offering better bonuses to damage. And for example, I remember that the Talvar had a 10% bonus on missile speed and missile damage, while the trainer had around 25-20% bonus on missile speed, missile damage. Which again, if you look at it from that perspective, it kind of gets balanced, but at the same time, the one missile launcher on the Talvar doesn't kind of get that 15% damage boost, so the trainers were kind of more powerful than their tier 1 counterparts. But again, having those ships, with having the possibility to reimburse those ships is definitely a good thing, definitely for new players. And if that pretty much affects me, no, in any way, shape or form it doesn't affect me. I pretty much never lost a ship, so and I will not lose a ship, definitely. We will see how that will go, definitely. At that, something I agree, but again, things can happen, things can go wrong, mistakes can happen, and I guess they want to make the game kinda in that way less, or should I say more forgiving, since in EVE Online, if you lose a ship is gone. You can pretty much get your ship back in some certain situations, but in most cases, once your ship is gone, ship is gone. And in Echoes, so far, I can definitely see that if you're doing missions and if you lose your ship by some mistake, if it's a trainer class, you're probably getting it back with this trainership reimbursement system that they will have. Will this be effective against other ships? Well, that is to be seen. I guess maybe, but I'm not quite sure that they will let that. And of course, the possibility that when you lose your ship in PvP, it's gone. Well, that's pretty much. I don't have to explain that, since that's pretty much obvious why we can't get our ship back when it gets destroyed in PvP, and it should stay that way. If they want to reimburse during missions, that's fine, but don't reimburse during PvP losses. That wouldn't be kind of, I guess, appropriate. Well, like I said, that was about the trainer type ship reimbursement. Pretty much something that we will be having into the official game. Like I said, I was flying mostly the Talvar trainer. It was a really good ship. There on screen you can see the close-up of that. And again, the trainer classes ships are called trainer for a reason. We should use them to pretty much learn how to play the game, or should I say, new players should use that to learn how to play the game. Us old players or veterans, we already know how to play even Echoes, so trainer ships will be there probably. We will be using them. I will be using the trainer ships definitely for starters, and after that I'll probably switch to more powerful vehicles. And like I said before, I have a couple gold ships that I want to get, and I will be working to get them. But again, those trainer ships, this little system will definitely improve player experience, since you know probably the statistic that EVE Online gets so many downloads during the week, and only 10% of people play more than more than 7 days, right? And that pretty much explains how difficult that game is. And since Echoes is a mobile game, well, supposedly a mobile game, I know people who play that on emulators as well as on tablets and computers. They are making these small, I guess, changes to appeal to a variety of players. Again, that doesn't affect directly me in terms of, I am not pissed that they did that so far, since it will not affect my PvP runs, definitely. I will not be affected by that in any way, shape or form. It will pretty much help new players to not rage quit, I guess, since again, even Echoes is kinda unforgiving. At least it was unforgiving when we played the open beta, since if you would lose your ship, it would be gone, and having your ship reimbursed is definitely not a bad thing for really new players, for players who are trying the game out for the first time. And I am really glad that they didn't include the reimbursement for PvP, like I said before. That would be like, with that I would be having a problem. But thankfully, luckily, they didn't include it, so that's pretty much okay and fine by me. Well, enough of the trainership reimbursement talk. Let's go fleet command upgrade. Well, the second one is interesting. They have said that we've drawn up new design to simplify fleet command with the intention to improve communication between fleet commanders and members of their fleet. And we will have the history feature, alright, that's good. So players can view, alright, well, pretty much I personally expect something that we have in EVE Online. Pretty much I expect similar features, similar like overall design of the fleet, and overall in the Echoes fleet I was pretty much only in 1 or 2 fleets. I don't remember. I know I was in a fleet during the ending days of the open beta, and it was kind of confusing, like it was really glitchy, really laggy in terms of fleet commander would set a fleet warp, but the game wouldn't respond to it. It would just say invalid command or something, so it was really bugged. So we did not have, well, I did not have any major time to pretty much test that out. Other people probably have tested it out, probably worked really well in small fleets, like in fleets up to 5 or 10 players. It probably worked fine in that way, but for bigger fleets I think that we had a cap of 50 players, 50 members in a fleet. I'm definitely looking forward for them to expand that, since for alliance purposes that would be definitely great. And I honestly expect the fleet upgrade or fleet command to be slightly better than it was before. Definitely that's something that really needed major improvements, and well, they said that they will improve this in the future update notes. Alright, and well, definitely I'm personally looking forward for that. We will see how that will play out. I think I already have a good, like, I will be in a corp pretty much already. Back up a couple weeks ago, talked with someone about it, and we will probably be there. You know who that is probably. We're also doing the same thing on YouTube, and well, he's a really good player, and I look forward to enjoy the game. Okay, well, it was about the fleet upgrade. Now the corporation alliance mechanic development. Well, that's something also really interesting. I kind of forgot what was the member limit in alliances. I think in the, well, my apologies, we did not even have that we did not have corporations in the official game. That's something that was missing, and I've heard that we will be having a cap on 50 to 100 players per corp, which is again not a small number. Again, 50 to 100 per corp, then multiple corps can form alliances, and then they can have a couple thousand players combined, so that's good. So that's fine. So let's see what they again say. This corporations and alliances are prominent yet intricate mechanics in both EVE Online and EVE Echoes. To implement the system and to fulfill the high expectation set by EVE Online, we are taking extraordinary measures to ensure the development of this system has sufficient time and resources for success. Furthermore, we have begun the development of the alliance mechanic to go hand in hand with the corporation system. So what do I expect from this? Well, again, I honestly expect something similar to what we have in EVE Online, since we all know how complicated the social structure in that game is. We have some big corporations or big alliances with a couple thousand players in them, which is not a small number, and we can expect something similar, or perhaps in some cases it may actually be greater. The number of alliances and corps in Echoes might be greater, since we had during the open beta, during the 1 month of the open beta, we had like 400,000 players, which pretty much is a big number for a first month. So you can definitely expect really high numbers of members in corporations and alliances, and that has the potential to bring something really interesting, something that we haven't seen on mobile so far. Like I said before, Echoes will definitely bring a lot of new stuff to the mobile market in terms of overall feel and mechanics and overall difficulty and overall structure of the game and overall structure of the entire gaming industry on mobile, since we all know most mobile games are bad. Like 75 to 80% of mobile games are bad, and that's not a secret, that's a fact. And so far Echoes has been really good in terms of what it had to offer during the open beta. And of course, the overall feel of the game was actually really good. But for the lands and corporations, we will see. I have, again, high expectations. I expect something similar that we already have in EVE Online. I also expect really massive alliances to form in that game. We will see. I'm definitely, at first, like I said, I already have a friend of mine. We pretty much, like I said, we do the same thing on YouTube. Like, you probably know him. He's Sovereign. A really good channel, and again, really good content that he's producing. Best info on EVE Echoes that you can find. It's on his channel. And, well, we will be in the, I guess, we will be forming that corp, and we will see. We will be also finding new members for that corp, and, well, like I said, we will be enjoying the game, and we will, it's gonna be, I'm just gonna say, like, it will be, the game will be fun. We are going to try to make the game fun, and to give you viewers the pleasure of watching the game and enjoying the game with us. Right, well, on to the third, that was the third, okay, that was Corporation Alliance, alright. And game text localization, well, you can already say by the name, localization. It's not the localization that we see in some other games, other games that have the word localization in them. Pretty much are known to censor stuff, and are pretty much known to have multiple servers. For example, the games I pretty much play have a couple versions. We have, for example, the Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and global version, and of course Southeast Asian version in some games. And these versions are different from each other. Pretty much they're region locked, and it is not the same localization that we will have in EVE Echoes. Localization in EVE Echoes pretty much means that they will add multiple language supports in settings so that you can switch your desired language there. And that's a good thing. Like I said, EVE is one big server, and everyone plays on that one single server, and the game will be available worldwide. Pretty much the best thing that we can do, the best thing is to have a single server for a game, so that you can have all players on that single server, because, you know, it's less work, it's less stress, and overall it is in general better than having 6 other versions of the same game, since if you have so many versions of the same game, that can be kind of troublesome, and that can be kind of problematic in some cases. In some instances it can be really problematic in terms of optimization and bug fixing, since if you fix on one version, you have to fix on every version. And, well, we all know not all games are not all mobile games know the word for consistency, and that's why having 1,000 servers is a bad thing. Having one server is good, and is pretty much the best option. If that pretty much, if you ask me, that's how I view it. Well, this was it for this little developer update for the 2nd of April. I will be paying more attention to what the developers will say and will release, and, well, hopefully this year, in a couple months, we will be having the game released, and we will be enjoying the game together. Well, with that being said, hope you enjoyed. It was my pleasure to give you this info, and with that being said, take care, and I will see you in the next one.